You're this perp back with another video, and I just got done watching American Horror Stories Season 2, Episode 3. And man, I'm just thinking to myself, yo, where was all this writing in Season 1? Because so far, I know it's still early, anything could happen. So far, this season has been much better than the first season. Jeez Louise. Anyways, man, yeah. So let's get right into it because I don't want to waste no more time. This, I think, worked for me. So we have our main character Marcy. She's out with her friend Piper out in the club, and they're just having a good time. They're just out here just looking for somebody. You know what I'm saying? They just looking for some D. Just a fun time. But as the episode goes along, Marcy leaves the club and then ends up getting followed by somebody, you know what I'm saying, after having a little nightcap. I guess you could call it a night, not a nightcap, but like a one night stand, little quickie, real quick. And then she heads home. But then, like I said, somebody is following her and ends up like almost like ramming, rear-ending her like constantly and stuff. And then Marcy tries to start to look into this a little bit more as her friend Piper keeps kind of mentioning throughout the episode that, girls go missing from nightclubs all the time. There's this like weird like serial killer going around. So you're kind of thinking, and I had this thought too that, oh man, this is probably going to be a really predictable ending. But man, this definitely kind of surprised me, man. This episode surprised me in a way that I thought like, okay, this is what I want to see from American Horror Stories. So Marcy ends up, like I said, investigating, doing her own kind of digging around, snooping, and comes across this guy that is the same Jeep that she's seen like the previous night. So she starts to kind of follow him around to see where he goes, and then ends up finding out that he works at this like culinary kind of spot. I guess they just sell culinary items and stuff like that. And the guy is really weird. So you're like, is this guy a killer and stuff like that? They really telegraph it to make you believe that he is like the big threat here. But as she keeps following this guy, she actually follows him to his house. And this is where things get really crazy, because like you're starting to think like, why is she going so hard on like finding out who this is? But the most interesting thing about Marcy is that we find out earlier in the episode that she's in pretty much like an open relationship with her husband named Chaz. And Chaz is kind of how can I say it? He's a little clingy. He's definitely pretty much clingy. And I thought the twist was going to be that the husband has been the killer this whole time, and to some extent that is kind of true. But I like how they do it in this, and she has some weird kind of birthmark, you know what I'm saying, that's on the side of her face, but she covers it up with makeup, and she kind of gives this whole explanation about it like later on in this episode. But anyways, once she gets to this dude's house, you know what I'm saying, the dude pretty much kind of breaks it down like, yo, I was trying to help you. I wasn't trying to like scare you or nothing like that. I just saw the dude in the back of your car, something moving in the back of your car, and I was trying to warn you. And I liked how they kind of set this whole thing up, because previously Piper was talking about how this one girl ended up missing. Not really missing, but she ended up getting killed by this guy in the same way that she was being followed by this Jeep and getting rear-ended. The one chick that she was telling the story about, her head ended up on the front of this car, like she was decapitated. It was crazy. That was a crazy ass story. But once we get like going back to the house, you know what I'm saying, and you got this guy pretty much explaining his side of the story, she kind of is digging him because of that. She's like, oh, I didn't expect somebody to do that for me. And then that's when the twist happens, where you find out that no, she is the one that's going around killing motherfuckers. Like, that was really an interesting twist to me. I'm drawing on drawing a blank on the actress's name, but I swear she looks familiar. But it's just she did a really dope job. Looked wonderful throughout this whole entire show. Was really looking good, man. It was almost distracting to me, but come to find out that she is really the crazy one, and her husband have been doing this for some time now, and now this kind of turns into an episode of You. If you've ever watched You on Netflix, you know what I'm talking about. It kind of gave me that vibe. So she's sitting there explaining her reasoning on why she's doing what she's doing, and how she's been picked on since high school about the way she's looked and whatnot, as she's torturing this dude. First she gets like this like claw thing and puts it in his leg, and then she gets this big ass like sword that looks like a machete though. It was weird. I've never seen nothing like it. She was about to slit this dude's throat, but she ended up just like putting the knife in his head or some shit. Like that was cold. I don't know what type of weapon that was, but that was crazy. And they have all these little different torture mechanisms and stuff like that. So it's just like, damn, they were prepared. But I do like the aesthetics of her house. Like I'm talking about Marcy's actual house. It's like a glass house. There were like some really interesting details outside of the house. Like it'd be dark, it would be nighttime, it'd be raining, and you have like this fog that's kind of like wrapped around the house. It was really cool. It was really a cool aesthetic. That was dope. But yeah, after she gets done torturing him and pretty much killing him off, she goes to her husband saying like, you know, I want you to be more than the person that just buries the body. I want you to do this with me. So they end up getting, I'm assuming that was Piper, her best friend, and that's like the last person that they kill, and that's how the episode ends. But I think this episode and the twist kind of worked for me compared to the last two episodes we got. Not saying those two episodes were bad. I just think they had a hard time sticking the landing. I think this stuck the landing, even though it did kind of play it safe up until a point, but I do enjoy the twist. Let me know how you guys feel about this episode. Do you think this was the best episode so far of the season? I thought it was really dope. Let me know your thoughts. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.